What's up everybody, Emperor John Kill 3D Gaming here with another video, and it's a follow-up to the modding video I made. Now, my video had clearly upset some bottom dwellers, some, same relations kind of people, and basically misrepresenting my video, lying, adding misinformation, and basically only using 2 minutes of the video when he claims that my entire video was debunked, which it did not. So here's a follow-up to that video explaining why multiplayer modding should be banned outright. And to once again clarify, but we already know some people, certain individuals are too retarded to understand the basic English language, and that is multiplayer modding needs to be banned on not only the competitive front and on games where you fight other players. Okay? Now, there's nothing wrong with single player modding, nothing wrong with offline modding, nothing wrong with modding games that are cooperative based. That's fine, cooperative based. Or if you're modding games in private lobbies with friends, that's perfectly fine. Unless you're using modding in a competitive sense to not only either make your graphics look better, or hell, maybe just to change the cosmetics of the skin, of the guns, yourself, anything like that. That's fine. That's no issue. Modding on that's perfectly fine. So now that that's made clear, because we already know certain individuals are gonna lie about my video and spread misinformation about it and bitch and complain like always, but to the rest of you who are smart, have good relations with your siblings, and actually look at them as just siblings and not look at them as a piece of meat, here you go with multiplayer online competitive modding. Those need to be disrupted and taken away entirely because it ruins the flow of the experience of an online game. Tell me, what's the purpose, or what would be the purpose of someone buying a game, a competitive multiplayer game, right? And the whole purpose of that would be to just, any player wants to earn what they unlock. They want to play the game, level up, do the best that they can do, earn the gear, earn the weapons, earn the skins, earn what they want to earn. That's the whole point. But when you have certain individuals who feel that they are A, too lazy, B, they're too entitled, and C, they don't want to put in the fucking efforts to actually play the game, they're gonna mod it to unlock everything that other players are working hard to unlock. That's what I say makes a regular person who doesn't use mods like that, like competitive mods to get the edge. They're more of an actual gamer and someone that enjoys their games and wants to play their games. They want to play games the right way. They don't want to be a stick in the mud or a humbug of the lobby just to show off, look at all this stuff I unlocked. Only after an hour of modding the game and only playing for an hour, I have all the stuff that would take you guys a couple weeks to unlock, or that you would unlock fairly and competitively. That's the mindset of some of these people, and they don't realize that when they get into the game, and just because they can have all the weapons where they can see through walls, know when another player's coming, being able to just automatically snap onto a player and shoot them even though the player was shooting at them first, lag switching the game to get the advantage over other players, or just basically outright cheating the system of the game to always be on the leaderboards. And if you have to do that, if you have to mod a multiplayer game to always have the competitive edge over people, then you shouldn't be playing those games to begin with. In fact, you should be banned from playing those kind of games, because it proves that you don't deserve to play those games online. There would be no competitive gaming front if mods were allowed. Luckily, competitive gaming scenes don't let you do that kind of shit, but at least when you're at home and you're playing an online competitive game, you shouldn't be doing this to other players either, because you're just giving players a reason to not play the game anymore, because they would be like, oh, what's the purpose of even unlocking this stuff when the next guy in the lobby only had the game for 2 hours and they're already the most maximum prestige, everything unlocked because they didn't do nothing to acquire it. Nothing at all. They just sat there, opened the game's files, flipped a couple switches, and unlocked everything because they are too lazy to actually go through the game. And if you're talking about, well, what about people work? No, that's not an excuse. I work 2 jobs, sometimes 3, yet I can still make the time to play a competitive online multiplayer game and unlock a fair bit of things within a couple of hours of gameplay. See, the kind of people that do that kind of thing tell me that they're sorry at the game. They don't have the skills required to play the game, so they have to put themselves above other people. It says kind of a lot about themselves versus about the game or the gamers that they're targeting when they do these kind of things with the mods. Now, have I dabbled in mods? Yeah, I've modded Skyrim several times. I've, single player modding cooperative games. Hell, even modding, let's say PvE games. I'll even go as far as let you mod PvE games. But PvP based games, no. Because if you do that, that just proves that you don't have what it takes to play the game correctly, nor to play the game fairly. And the kind of people that do that I've always noticed a pattern with these kind of people that mod multiplayer games. They buy the game thinking that, oh, I'm going to be top dog in this fucking game, but they could get blasted up by a 6-year-old on Fortnite, or back then, 7 to 10-year-olds on Call of Duty, and they're feeling like, wow, what's the point of me playing this game? Or, you know what, I'm going to get the advantage. I'm just going to open up the game's files, unlock every weapon at just level 5, and I'm going to go back and blast everybody and remain top of the game just to ruin the game for other players and not make them want to play anymore. Therefore, I will kill the player base. That's basically what these people like this do without openly saying it. It's like you're saying something without saying something. You're doing an action without realizing you're doing it or knowingly that you're doing it. And if you're actively doing it just to be a nuisance, then people like you should not be on the game to begin with. Trust me, there's a couple of individuals, especially one that should not be doing this because all he does is dick ride mods more than he dick rides the names of other YouTubers just for attention after getting thrown out the door like a sloppy ex-girlfriend on a bad night. But I think there is a fine line. There is a fine line. Don't get me wrong. Modding is not bad. Now, I will say that again. Modding is not bad. And never once have I said modding is bad. So that's cleared up in case some fat gorillas tried to fucking spread misinformation about my video again. Anyway. But yeah, there's a fine line between modding. There should be a fine line. And it should be a common consensus that to be like, okay, if I'm playing a multiplayer game, especially a competitive game, I should not be modding the game. And no one can use excuses, oh, what about games from the early 90s that people mod today? That's different. That's completely fine. I'm talking about competitive games from the modern era and the most contemporary games. Games like Quake, Doom, everything like that, perfectly fine. There ain't nothing wrong with modding those kinds of games. Those games, you get a kick and thrill out of modding those games. It's fun. The last time I played Doom 2, I played a fucking Simpsons mod or a Super Mario mod where Mario was shooting Goombas with a shotgun. So mods can be fun. They are. They can also help fix things that the developers either missed the first time or just don't outright care to fix later. That's different. But when you're continuously trying to mod competitive games, you're disrupting the flow of other people actually enjoying the game. Not every person wants to get online. They grab their average gun class and just start shooting about just to be shot by a guy who they were shooting first, takes a whole clip to shoot that guy, misses every shot somehow at point blank range. Oh, but the modder can suddenly just stand right there, shoot everybody in one shot, maybe 2 shots, and then act like they're playing the game right, or that this is just the way to play the game. No, that's being a dick and disrupting the flow of whatever game's combat, whatever game's, meta. There's a reason why anti-cheats exist. Yeah, most anti-cheats can be bypassed, and a lot of developers give a hoop and ha sometimes about having to put them in, but when they do put them in, and the developer actually cares to be like, no, you're not going to mod our game multiplayer-wise to get an edge over people. I'm sorry to say, I feel that any person, and I say this confidently, that any person who buys a game, whether it be, let's just go through the years of games with prices. You buy, let's say, a multiplayer game, buy it for $40, $50, $60, $70, at most $80 fucking dollars, and you're not going to put in the effort to actually enjoy what the game has to offer, to give to you, and for you to unlock. That's the incentive to going through these kinds of games, is to unlock things. You feel a sensation, a good euphoria when you unlock something that you wanted to unlock, or you unlock something new that puts you on par with the people that have been killing you online. But modding for those kind of benefits, no. Modding for that kind of benefit puts people or gamers like that at the bottom of the fucking crumble. It puts them at the fucking bottom of the barrel. Because, one, they have no room to talk because they themselves have proven that they are too lazy to even put in the effort to unlock skins, to unlock new weapons, to unlock new perks and equipment. And if you're wondering why I'm using those terminologies, I'm just using Call of Duty as the easiest reference, because every time a new Call of Duty comes out, you always have those issues where modders try to flood the game before they get kicked out, banned, and then question why they get kicked out and banned. It doesn't take fucking rocket science, but I guess these people are too slow to realize that they can mod a lot of things, but they can't mod the speed of their brain. Ain't that some shit? But with multiplayer modding, it should literally be something that should not have been a thing to begin with. And again, before my words get misrepresented, because there's no one on the platform that's ever been able to accurately represent what I say. Every video I've ever made and people respond to, they will chop it up, edit it, manipulate my words. That's how it's easy to know that some people are full of shit, and I can say the things I say without really much worry, because I know they're never going to accurately portray what I say correctly without feeding into their own egotistical and delusional points that have been tried to make on the same topic. Especially when people just cut your video and only use 2 minutes of it. Yeah, if you don't use the whole video, I don't even bother going through the rest of it to give the person the benefit to listen to, because that just proves that if they don't have the care or what's the word I'm looking for? It's a word I'm looking for where, whatever, fuck it. That they just don't care to go through the video that they're trying to counter. If the whole video is not used, then the person's points, their video is moot, their video is dead, their video has no purpose and serves no enlightening, nothing enlightening. It doesn't give you nothing more than what, let's say, my video would give you, which would give you more than certain fat asses trying to make videos out there. But with the subject of that, and all this really came to fruition for me to say these things, especially with the recent debacles over the summer with Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and 2. Don't get me wrong, those games had some serious issues because they were trying to use older gen profiles like PS4 and all that to try to run the lobbies. Then they switched it over to people with higher connections that can actually keep the lobbies up and, a game won't crash or migrate hosts that much, if at all. Zombies in multiplayer was the only thing that was really working correctly. Now that multiplayer's got ironed out and you don't deal with people like that, the game is what it should be. But that goes for every multiplayer game out there. When you notice if you notice how quickly your fan base is trying to tell you that modders are making the game an unbearable experience, don't take weeks, don't take days immediately act upon it right then and there. And any person who wants to mod the game for a competitive edge, if it's not to graphically enhance the game, if it's not to make the game play better, if it's not for any visual upgrades, or maybe just skins to make the game look different, adding different levels, that's fine when you add stuff to the game. But if you just like want to fundamentally destroy the core of the game's meta and the gameplay loop, then you have no business playing online competitive games as it is. Now, you want to play on it, that's fine. They should make servers. Like if I was a developer, I would draw inspiration for what Rockstar does. When Rockstar has players that cheat or become bad apples, I would create servers in the game. So I'm like, okay, if you want to mod or cheat the game, go play with your own kind and go play with those kind of people and see how much you like it when you can't even get a chance to play your game or shoot somebody before they shoot you halfway through the walls of the level. These kind of people, they don't think about that kind of thing. They only think about themselves and how to make the game better for them. But they don't care about disrupting the meta for other players who want to enjoy the game, who bought their purchase, no matter what price they paid for their game's purchase, whether it be full price, half price, discounted price, whatever, physically or digitally. They bought their game to enjoy their game. But if people out there are going to mod games and disrupt the loop and the flow from other players, then yes, they should have no business having the game, or B, they should have no business having an account to play online to begin with. Because, okay, what's to say they stop doing it for one game? What's to stop them from doing it for another game? You can't trust people like that. Because if they done it, it's like when you meet the guy Mo, Mo Lester, and he gets in trouble, he gets released, but then he commits the same act of, getting those grapes in, and then boom, back at square one. People like that don't change. Just the same way with multiplayer modders, they won't change. Their whole point is to make the game unbearable for others because they themselves can't even play the very game online correctly or fairly that most people try to do. And I know it would be difficult to stop this kind of thing, but if proper actions are taken, it can be done. Multiplayer games should be a place for fair competitiveness instead of basically people online saying, I only played for 2 hours, I unlocked everything in the game, versus the guy who's actually trying hard to unlock everything. So, that's all I got to say. Be sure to like, subscribe, favorite. It's been Emperor John Kill 3D Gaming. Also, keep an eye out for new live streams, any video premieres, and any upcoming shorts I got going on. I also have a second channel called John Kill 3D's Shorts. So, be sure to check everything out. Have a good day, everybody, and take care.